Hello, this is Arthur Malman, your host for this segment of GGG Insights, and I want to welcome you all and also welcome Linda James, who's the chair of the town's Energy Sustainability, and I guess it's changed its name a little bit.
We're about to change our name.
And it's going to be now called?
The Energy Sustainability and Resiliency Committee.
Okay, I think that was, resiliency was one of the things that was left off everybody's focus for a long time, but now we're beginning to realize that if there's a problem out here, we can be left in the dark, literally.
Right. Actually, when the Energy Sustainability submitted the Climate Action Plan to the board for its approval in 2015, we had a chapter on resiliency. Mm-hmm. So by changing our name, we're not changing it, we're growing it. That's how I look at it. The Climate Action Plan was voted into the town's comprehensive plan. So energy sustainability and resiliency are now very much a part of the vocabulary.
Well, that's terrific. Now, Linda, happily you've got something that's going to make it much easier for us to understand what's happening here and what the tools are. And if the folks could put the energy portfolio or toolbox on the screen, maybe we'll just run through them. Oh, here it is. Okay, great.
There it is.
Okay, so why don't you just walk quickly through each one so people can understand what we're going to talk about. And I guess home retrofits.
Yes. This represents our solutions to how we are going to reach the town goal of 100% renewable energy resources in generating our electricity.
Okay, so this is stuff like improving insulation, remotely controlled thermometers,
right.
LED lights.
Right. I think it all starts from in our residential community. Is my home the most efficient that it can possibly be in saving me not only money, but in saving the necessary need for additional energy? So we have a program, free program, and it's Long Island Green Homes, that will come into your home and make this assessment, tell you what you do need, what you don't need, that you are totally, it's your decision as to what you will do, but at least you will be making an informed decision on how your home can be more efficient in this very expensive energy arena.
Let's flip on the next one here, green building. And that one is?
That green buildings has to do with codes that have to do with designing and building new developments, new buildings, mm-hmm. new structures. And we've had two codes that have been approved. One of them has to do, it's called HERS, mm-hmm. Home Improvements, energy improvements, okay?
Yeah, sure.
And this means as of June 2018, architects had to have their plans approved for under the guidance of this new regulation.
You know, Linda, it's really funny. A lot of people see these kinds of regulations and say, well, they're going to cost me a lot of money. I'm a small investor in a company. We have a couple of large industrial facilities. And I remember we got a call that really surprised us. It was from the Penske Corporation. And they wanted to know if we would mind if they, with their own funds, replaced the roof. We all thought that they were crazy. We didn't realize that they changed the roof with their own money on our building, and it saved them dramatic amounts of money to heat and cool the place. And they made back that expenditure within a matter of probably 2 or 3 years. And it just
Did your company make the decision to go forward?
We made the simplest decision possible. We said, yes, as long as our architect said it was okay, you, with your own money, can redo our roof, which should have been our responsibility. And if
Well,
that
you
makes sense to
see,
you.
if it becomes the responsibility of the homeowner is going to recoup, even if they
No,
are-
that was my point. I
Yeah,
mean, a lot of
right.
these things, people say, well, it's going to cost me money, but the savings are enormous in some of
Enormous.
these.
And they are continuing to actually grow. There have been programs underwritten by LIPA that have to do with tax credits. There's a whole bundle of opportunities for individuals who are looking to put solar on their rooftops. In order to do that, there's certain requirements that their rooftops need.
Well, we're
for-
jumping ahead on our chart.
Oh,
Let's get the chart
okay,
again.
Okay, so green building, we have one
Okay.
other. We had one other code, then that has to do with pool pumps.
Oh,
And
okay.
that leads right into
Load management.
load management.
And
Now,
I see you even have a pool up there. So that must be
right.
part of the.
Oh,
okay.
and the other thing I'd like to say about, just as an introduction about this toolbox, is that you can go onto our website, which is Energize East Hampton, energizeeh.org, and you can pull down each one of these icons, and it will explain to you probably better and in certainly less worry than what I am doing here today. So you can go from home retrofits, mobility, rooftop solar. You will learn all of that from our website. Peak Savers is a contract that was awarded by LIPA to AES, and they are in the process now. The contract was for 8 megawatts. They have they're accomplishing this by, number one, more efficient lighting, number two, they pool pumps, and number three, smart thermostats.
And by the way, pool pumps, of course, as you can obviously understand, operate when the peak load is most stressed.
That's
so
right.
that could be a very big saver for everybody.
That's right, but not everybody has a pool.
And not everybody has a pool pump.
Right, that's right.
Let's go on to the next one. So I want to run
Battery
through these.
storage
Yeah.
is a growing industry, and that means whenever they're not yet ready for homes, although Tesla has a product, but it's not as accessible, and it is more expensive. But if you move on to a municipal level, we have 2 battery storage installations, one in Montauk and one here in East Hampton, that store additional energy that can be used during peak management.
When you say we have, is that the town? Is it LIPA?
No, this belongs to the town. That's why it's on here.
Oh, okay.
Okay?
And what is so the town has either with its own funds or with a grant built a battery storage facility someplace in town.
You know what, Arthur? I'm going to pass on that question because I can't answer that as well
Okay,
as
sure.
I should.
We'll go on.
I would like
Yeah,
to pass on it.
we'll go.
But I know we have 2 installations, and you're probably right because LIPA we lease the land.
Oh, okay.
I think that's how it is.
Okay, we'll
and
go back to
LIPA
that. Yeah.
installs.
But I think we all have the idea, and I know, as you said, Tesla has a unit that is probably 4 feet by 8 feet, and they're selling it as the home storage unit for batteries.
But, right, the companies are coming fast
Oh,
on.
absolutely,
I know this. My
absolutely.
son is working with a company out of California, so it's
Okay.
moving fast
Well,
along.
Let's keep on going. There's a lot
Okay.
of interesting stuff here that a lot of us hear
What I
words
try
about.
and do, because my vocabulary is not technical, my vocabulary is climate change, what I try to do is to make this language as accessible as possible and stay away from the technical because
yeah.
I want to draw everyone in. I want people, this is how we can reach out and speak to our neighbors and to our residential communities, et cetera.
Okay.
So let's go on.
Let's go on to our toolbox here.
Okay.
Rooftop solar. We all know it. We all have seen it. We've all heard about it. I think the only new thing, I think the only thing that's changed now is how LIPA pays for your excess, which is a shame. It shows the power of LIPA.
That's changing, and we just received a letter from Tom Falcone, who is the CEO of LIPA, and about the fact that they are going to indeed continue to, for a period of time. Again, I don't like to quote this. Put that down on your list of things to do with Gordian.
Yeah. For those of you who are not familiar with what we're talking about here, up until recently, if you had a solar array on your roof, and you on one day you were buying power from LIPA. If your roof solar array generated more power than you needed, your meter would physically go backward, and you'd be selling that number of kilowatts back to LIPA, essentially at the same price you're buying it. What LIPA was very good at getting through the state legislature was a very unfortunate development in that they now will buy the electricity from you that you have produced in excess at a much cheaper price to you,
and then sell it back.
Then they sell it to you. So I think there are some problems and some strains coming on to the solar electric production on your roof because of that facility. Let's go on to that.
No, I think there's something else we have to that the audience should know about solar. The biggest issue we have with solar is tree shading. And in East Hampton town, we do not have enough open space to provide solar paneling, solar arrays, without cutting down trees.
Well, that's partially that's partially correct. We have lots of parking lots in the town of East Hampton.
Well, that's
that's one. Okay, let's go back to you. I'm sorry.
You go.
Let's go back to your toolbox.
Actually, I think I'm going to offer Arthur to join our committee because you're so well versed. Okay.
Solar parking lots.
Solar parking lots. We do not have a solar parking lot demonstration project yet. What we do have actually is more we have new charging stations, EV charging stations, 5 new charging stations.
Let's stay away from that. That's a different issue.
Okay, no, but it's.
But let's just stay with this. This is a good example. I mean, Suffolk County has a huge parking lot out around Yaphank or someplace like that, which has had solar panels on top for years, and everybody liked it because in the summertime you'd park under the solar panels and your car wouldn't be burning hot. And that seems to be one of those things that the town really could get behind and foster very quickly.
There are many things that.
That one's kind of easy.
Yeah, that one is not. I wish it were easy. I wish it were easy to be able. For example, we know that even putting in a new charging station, I'm not talking about covering a lot, just a new charging station for an electric car has pushback.
Well,
okay, let's go on to community solar, which is a misnomer, and actually we would like to refer to it now as a solar power facility, which we are about to open on Accabonac Road. We have a new solar facility that will be generating electricity. Let me see, I think about 1 megawatt of electricity. And that will go into the grid, as you said, Arthur, and then we will get the feedback for it. The other fun thing for me about
Well,
this,
we won't. We in all of Long Island will get the feedback for it. I think it's important for us to understand, though, Linda, that this is the very first baby step, because
you have to start somewhere.
I know, and you're talking about 1 megawatt, and I think the last I saw is that the offshore wind is talking about
we weren't going to say that.
130 megawatts.
We
under the
weren't
new
going to
management.
talk
I know
about
we weren't
that.
going to talk about it, but I just want to bring that up because, again, this is something that we should be pushing forward at a much faster rate than we're doing it. And I think it's...
Well, the town board is reflective of what the community wants.
And I think what we want to do is...
And what we want to do,
is-
and that's why I'm here today, Arthur, to speak with you, is we want to raise awareness in our community so that you understand that you and I and Arthur, we all have the opportunity to participate in some way. These are our options, this toolbox, to eliminate the fossil fuel emissions and that we depend upon now in order to get as our resource.
Well,
and
and
we
also-
we know from the 2 studies that I sent to you about the scale of climate change here on our globe. We know about it in our country from the National Climate Assessment, and this is how it's going to happen locally.
Well, I think the other half of that, Linda, is I think people have to begin to understand that besides doing good for the planet, these initiatives can also do good for their pocketbook. Because if they're
Exactly.
successful, the cost of energy out here on Long Island
Is the
will
highest.
will go down dramatically. And so it's a very funny equation whereby you do good for the planet and you also can save money in the long run. And also, quite frankly, it's a source of revenue for the town. When the town uses dormant facility to generate power, which it can sell to.
Well, the
in the
town is in the process of putting solar panels on all of the municipal buildings through a program through New York Power.
Okay. Is that in your toolbox there? I don't want to sound only negative that the town isn't doing something. Here's
Yeah,
the-
well, but you do
we
make
get a
make
tr-
it
can we-
sound
can we
like
get your
we're not
chart
doing
back up again?
anything.
Your toolbox?
And I'm saying.
Oh, here we go.
Here we go. There's my toolbox.
Okay. So that's
probably-
rooftop solar.
Rooftop solar.
Okay,
Okay,
good.
and that we are 5 buildings, municipal. Those 5 buildings, as all actually of the municipal buildings, have had efficiencies through peak savers and through retrofits. So the town feels, as they should, that they have to set the example. And that's why I'd also like to tell you that the town municipal fleet is expected to add several vehicles, Nissan Leafs, in early 2019. Vehicles purchased with grant award money received from NYSERDA, Clean Energy Communities programs.
No,
We're talking about small numbers, but
Yeah.
we have to get the door open.
Are those electric vehicles? Or are
Yes,
they?
all,
Okay.
all electric
Okay.
vehicles. And that's why the EV chargers, of which we already have 2 at the town hall, are important.
Okay. This is a pet project of mine because what I find is the town has, and the village too for that matter, has electric charging stations that virtually nobody knows exist.
That's why I'm here.
That's why you're here. But
That's why it's on my.
But it's also incumbent upon the town and the village to make this information more widely known.
We have a website now.
I don't mean a website. I mean a big sign.
Oh, a big sign.
Very-
Well,
very-
you know
very-
how the town and village feel
Right,
about signs.
Right. But
And
when
parking, and we've just had a pushback out in Montauk when
Tesla wanted to build the
That's
big
right.
station. Right. I
And
understand
what
that.
did the community say?
Well, we're not sure what the community said.
Well,
but
I am.
But some members of the community did not want to make public property available for commercial purposes. Other members of the community didn't want the unsightliness. I mean, a lot of different reasons. But my feeling always different. When we do have it, keeping it a secret accomplishes virtually
Why
nothing.
would we want to keep it a secret?
Thank you.
We don't. That's why we,
Well,
number
we
one,
do.
that's why I'm here.
I know
And
that
that's
you're-
why you asked me to come here.
I know, Linda, but what I'm saying is, on a very simplistic basis, if there's a thing sitting over there, and there's no sign that tells me what it is, I've got to be a mind reader to know
If
that
you
that's...
have an EV car and
Yeah.
you don't know what an EV charger looks like, that's not the town's responsibility.
But I also have to know that it's available for me to use.
Why would it be there?
Well, let me explain to you why it would be there.
If it wasn't for your use?
I'm involved with the airport Citizens Management
Right,
Committee.
I know that.
We have had an EV charger there for 2 or 3 years. And we asked,
Do you have a sign on it?
no,
Oh,
we've asked the airport manager if he knew if private cars could use it. He wasn't sure. We were told at one point only town vehicles could use it. And so there has to be an effort made where people understand what is available and where it is. And it wasn't just me, and it wasn't just the airport. I asked a guy here in town who's a volunteer fireman, he's here all the time. I said, did you know we have electric vehicle charging stations in the town? He said, no, where?
Oh.
So this is, I mean, and
Yes,
I'm not belittling
No,
you being here. Quite frankly,
of
that's
course
why we
not.
want you here.
Exactly.
To tell people that we have
And
this stuff.
You can't belittle me. Anytime I have an opportunity, which is a lot of
Yeah.
time, this is what I do. And this is what I do because I have the responsibility charged to me from the town to raise awareness, but it's also a passion that I have.
Yeah, and I think we
like you, I have grandchildren, I'm sure, and this is why I work so hard. We are on the cutting edge of a major transformation.
Absolutely, Linda. Wait, I want to go,
Okay,
I want to
all
go
right.
back to our chart.
Oh, look.
If we can get our chart back.
Okay, where are we?
Offshore wind, we've spoken
We
about.
will not speak
We've
about
done-
it.
Community choice aggregation.
You and I have spoken
Yeah.
about earlier.
Yeah.
That is, in a sense, an opportunity for local communities to come together, to aggregate, and form a CCA, they're called Community Choice Aggregation. We have opened the door in Southampton last week, or the week before, was the first public hearing before the Southampton Town Board by our partner in Southampton, the Southampton Sustainability Committee.
Yeah.
It is a very complex initiative. There's no question. It is in our future. Long Island lags behind Westchester.
We're going to go into this in another one of our programs in
I
some
think
depth.
so.
Yeah,
It's a
but
program in itself.
Yeah, as a takeaway, if you think of it very basically as a buying co-op, and all of a sudden you've got 1,000 homes together buying electricity from somebody who's a seller, it's pretty obvious that the price you get is going to be much different from the price you get if
And
you knock on the door and say, I've got a house. and I
That's
want-"
the price and also the choice of the
Right.
energy generation. And that way we can move even more quickly into our renewable energy resources.
Yeah, okay, let's go back to our chart. I know
Okay,
we're running
where
out
are
of
we?
time. Heating,
Thermal heating, I can't point to a project
Okay.
that we have, but
Well,
we know
I
that it
think-
needs to be done. That's why it's there.
I think Supervisor Van Scoyac might have done something like that in his house. Maybe we'll get him to tell us about it.
I think he would love to come on this.
I know a couple of the people who are really involved.
But I can
have
tell
done it,
you
yeah.
that basically we work with the Department of Natural Resources, and we do not at this point in time that I know of have a project in thermal heating.
Okay, let me check, because I think at one point, one of the owners of one of the surveying companies was building a house and doing that.
Oh, I know that, you're right, yes.
yeah.
He was the owner of...
Saskus, David Saskus.
Oh, no, I was thinking of someone else.
Yeah, but
the
I
owner of Long Island Green Homes.
Yeah. But I think that's, now that I'm stopping for a second and we're talking away from our chart, we'll come back to that. I think it's indicative that people in the building business and understand building are now doing this type of greening of their own homes.
Absolutely.
And they realize that they may spend a couple of more dollars on day one, but they're going to get tremendous, besides psychic satisfaction, they're going to get economic returns from their investment. And that's what I think people lose sight of sometimes here, Linda. And what also they lose sight of is how fast our segment ends.
No,
And we've got a couple of more things. If you put the chart back up again for 1 second as I say goodbye to Linda, we're going to be talking also about microgrids, which is that thing next to heating, and then mobility in future segments. And Linda, I want you to come back.
Let me thank you, Arthur.
Okay.
You've absolutely taken the words out of my mouth.
Okay, well, I didn't
Thank
mean
you
to do
very
that.
much.